So the in-betweens on these are fairly simple. I'm just going to do the halfway positions at this point just to show you the broad action. I mean, it's not like these are insanely hard drawings to do. So maybe we'll come back and we'll do a few in-betweens. Okay, so we're going to do drawing number 4 is our first one. So on our path of action here, we're just going to loop this down very lightly in this direction here. Okay, or you can take the route that we talked about in the demonstration where it could possibly drop straight down like this and then catch and come across like that if you want to. Okay, either one is valid. So if we do that, we're going to have our halfway position is going to be approximately here. We'll just draw our circle on. And we connect it together with our string. Okay, just like that. So I'll just back up and I'll do 3 and 2 real quickly. Okay, so that gets me out of my first key. I'm going to go from 5 all the way up to 10. Again, following my timing chart, number 6 is my halfway position. Now in this case, the arc is just going to be a nice smooth arc because there is no distortion as far as the weight goes. So we'll just keep it as a nice arc going this way. Find the halfway position. And then just continue through for 7, 8, and 9. Here's an instance where your disc comes in handy. Just by rotating it, it makes it a little bit easier to draw that arc. Also, using a light table makes it easier as well. In this case here, we're doing a really super simple in-between, so it doesn't require a lot of flipping because it's just a simple line with a ball. It's not the same as what we were doing with the bouncing ball where we had the distortion of the ball at the same time to deal with. So this is a completely different type of an in-between technique. You can still flip if you want to, but it's not absolutely necessary. Now finishing up my final in between here, number 9. You can see the balls are overlapping each other in this instance. So let me just put them in order and we'll take a look at the action from 1 through 10. It's just a really simple swing. Okay, so now we're going to get into the tricky part. This is the part that just takes a little bit of thought to figure out what exactly is going on in the action and why it's doing what it's doing. So what we're doing is we're taking the action from this position where it's at the high point with the curvature arcing in this direction here, and we're reversing the direction. So the ball is not only dropping, but also the curvature has reversed as well. So you remember in that in-between assignment that I gave you, you could do it as a straight line, but then it loses its overlapping action. So the natural tendency would be just to find the halfway position right through there and draw a straight line, but it stiffens it out. Not only that, it's going to shorten the line, because in both instances the lines are curved. So in order to do this properly, if you were to draw a straight line, the ball would actually end up way out here, which means that it breaks its path of action. It gets up here, and it's going to pop out there like that and then come back in. And it's going to make the action look stiff, and we don't want that. So we want to try and maintain that looping path of action where it's going to loop around like this. So we're going to put our halfway in between on the ball, following that path. So when we flip it, we can see the action just dropping down like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the motion of the arm and we're going to make it cascade through from the fulcrum point. So what ends up happening is, in this instance here, everything on this drawing is moving in this direction, but it's reached its highest point. What we want to do is we want to reverse it now so that this part of the line here is coming down, but this part here stays curved up in this direction here. So we reverse the direction on this curve like this and bring this one over like this. So that's our actual halfway position. When you look at it now flipping, you see that everything is coming down, but this part here is coming down faster than this part here. And so it creates a ripple effect going through it. So this will be drawing number 11. And I'm going to show you an alternative to this, which is just a variation of the exact same thing. And it just depends on how you want the action to take place. Now we have to, this was our halfway in between. What we have to do is we have to back up one, right, to get our slow out. So actually this was number 12, I'm sorry. That should have been number 12. I'll make this one 11. So we're going to back up one in between here. Like that. Put just a very subtle little curve on this one here. We end up with, in the proper order, just a subtle little move like that. And then from this drawing here, it drops down to this position here. Okay. So now if we put these in flipping order, stack flip, flip them all from number 1, and we'll see the reversal of the action. It starts over here, swings across, and then reverses and drops down. Okay, so that would then link back into number 1. 13 is the opposite of 1. And then what we do is we take all of our drawings from this point on. Number 2 would then be the next in-between coming down out of that position. Okay, so we just have to flip it over and trace it off, and we've got the exact opposite. Yep.
Can't you just just shoot that and then make extras and just flip it?
You could, yeah, but then you don't get to see the full action.
Oh.
Okay. And in this instance here, what we're doing is, yeah, we're repeating the action exactly the same way on both sides, but I want you to get used to the idea of seeing it when you flip it, because when we actually do the arm swing, there's going to be a subtle difference in the opposite action coming forward. Okay. The actions will not be the same, but just follow through with what we're doing here exactly the same way. All right? So, for your numbering, just so you're aware, number 1 and 13 are the same, right? So therefore 2 is going to be 14, 3 is going to be 15, 4 is 16, 5 is 17, 6 is 18, 7 is 19, 8 will be 20, 9 will be 21. 10 will be 22. 11 will be 23. 12 will be 24. And then 13 goes back to 1. Okay, so we're going to have a 24 drawing cycle overall. All right, shoot it on 2s and it'll look really nice. Now here I'm going to show you a variation, and this is simply a variation in the action at the top. It's just a different way of approaching it. And I'm going to leave it up to you as to which one you choose to do, but it's just a variation on the same theme. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our drawing number 10, and 13, and we're going to make a modification to drawing number 13. In 13, what I had happening was I had both the rope and the ball dropping at the same time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this so that on 13, the ball is still going up. So I'm going to put the ball up here, one ball width above where number 10 is. But I'm going to keep the string coming down. So I'm just going to loop it a little bit more like this. So this will become my new number 13. I'm going to keep the timing exactly the same. So what ends up happening is going into number 11. The ball is going halfway, but it's going up halfway. And what happens on the string is the string is going to reverse that. Okay. And then I'm going to go to number 12, which is my halfway between 11 and 13. So the ball's still continuing to go up. Let me just pull out my number 10 drawing here so it's clear. The ball's going to continue to go up and ease into that high point. And my in-between is going to reverse back down in this direction here. Okay, so what ends up happening now I'll show you all my drawings. Ball starts over here, swings, continues up, and see how it reverses direction? The string reverses direction before the ball does. So the ball continues up. And the only problem here is that my timing, my spacing on the ball might be off just a little bit right in this section here on number 9. I'd have to adjust my in-between because the spacing is not quite what it should be. So the ball appears to hover and then it pops up a little bit higher there. So I'd have to go back and readjust my in-betweens from number 5 to 9 in order to accommodate and make that smoother going up so that it actually eases in to the high point, which is number 13. Okay? So it just creates a different type of an action on that high point. Okay? And it's just a variation that if you want to, you can add that in. All right?